Thank you, Derek, and good morning, everyone. I think we are doing the other way around. So Anna Teresa is first, and then I will continue after Anna Teresa.
Yes, thank you, and good morning, everyone.
Anna Teresa, you want me to share the slides?
If you can, yes.
Okay, I'll share.
Colleagues, but if you, yes, I also. Thank you, Meri. And again, it's a pleasure to be here, and good morning, everyone. And this day is an important day because we are presenting our DPM refit, and that's really important for both EIOPA and EBA. And I mean, before we do that, me and Meri would like to take you a little bit through the background and the history of data point modeling in both of our institutions. And it has been a long way for both of us. It has been a long way for EIOPA. So I would like to start on the next slide to present to you the path and the staircase that we have been climbing on the last years. We actually started a long time ago with Solvency II preparatory work. I mean, we developed preparatory phase of reporting because we knew from the beginning that it was important for the industry to implement reporting requirements of Solvency II. I mean, the ones that will remember and were monitoring that will remember that there was big delays on the implementation of Solvency II. So we moved on with the preparatory phase. And it was already in that preparatory phase that the business experts that were developing the reporting requirements understood the importance of a good data point modeling and the importance of discussing data point modeling at a very early stage of the development phase. It's true that did not happen immediately, so preparatory phase still was published with not a perfect design in terms of the reporting requirements in relation to data point modeling, but it was a very important step for all of us and for the business experts to understand the importance of it. Also, since the beginning, we have developed a tool for undertakings to support the industry to implement the reporting requirements, and many financial institutions used it along the years to create Solvency II reports at the end until it was discontinued by EIOPA. So this initial path in terms of the preparatory phase led us to develop Solvency II reporting from the beginning, where actually we had to take very difficult decisions because preparatory phase, as I said, was being implemented by some industry members, but it was not perfect. It did not reflect an adequate data point modeling. So some templates were not well designed, and some approaches towards the reporting had to change. And then, of course, we need to convince some of the members that were concerned that the industry will see it as new changes, will see it as new requirements, that they will not take it in a good way, that we change approach between preparatory phase and Solvency II, but we managed with training and explanations on the importance of data point modeling actually to do those changes. And I was happy to see that after, of course, we have done it, that it's true that the industry understood it, we explained very well, and also the software developers, of course, appreciate it because that, of course, led to better reporting requirements and more adequate. Other discussion that, I mean, and as I said, it was not an easy and straightforward path. I mean, other discussion that we had at the time was, should we have public disclosure templates? So the templates that will not be reported to supervisors, but that will be publicly disclosed, should they be part of this package, of this big taxonomy package? And also, should we model these templates? And at the end, of course, we have included them. And today, as you know, we are discussing European Single Access Point, and we are at the table with EBA, ESMA, the Commission, on how this public disclosure will be available in a machine-readable format in this ESAP, in this future European Single Access Point. So once again, what we have done in the past and the inclusion of these disclosure templates in the taxonomy revealed as actually a good decision. Then, of course, it became easier. So that's, I think, where the steps became smaller because it became easier to see what was the next natural step. So when we had to develop EURPS reporting, so for pension funds and for the PEP, it was, of course, very obvious that we should use the same methodology and we should be consistent across reporting frameworks. So in the future, we hope as well to be able to do that for financial conglomerates, to support the insurance companies which are heads of financial conglomerates to also use the same methodology and report using similar taxonomy. So in the next slide, I would like to present to you in concrete what is then our EIOPA architecture outline on data point modeling. And again, we implemented these uniform and consistent definitions across reporting frameworks. But what does this mean? And if we do another click, you will see in the slides, Meri, you will see that in the insurance framework, this really means that we not only have what we publish in the technical standards, which is the prudential framework and the special purpose vehicles technical standard, but also what we develop through guidelines, meaning the financial stability reporting needs of EIOPA, or the reporting that should be applicable to third country branches, so branches from undertakings which are located in third countries but have branches in the EEA. And this is done through guidelines. So regardless of the legislative framework to use and the legislative tool to use, we do ensure a uniform and consistent definition across the sectors. Also, of course, with the ECB add-on, but I will touch on that a little bit later. So the next step was then the EIOPS framework. And with the EIOPS framework, I want to highlight that really the biggest challenge was the aggregate information. So for the first time, we didn't have it in insurance in either of those different frameworks. But on EIOPS, we had the need to include both individual information and aggregated information. And in terms of data point modeling, that was the next challenge we had to face. Then at the end, when we had PEP, the prudential part was quite similar to the previous framework, so there was no issue there. But of course, we have the KID, the key information document, and this key information document, which was traditional, it's available publicly for the clients to understand their products, but it was also identified as important that under the PEP framework, EIOPA should receive this key information document for any PEP in a machine readable format. And as such, we have also integrated it into the taxonomy framework and into the single data point modeling dictionary. So you can see that along the way there were different challenges, but the methodology that we have in place and the DPM methodology allows us actually to address all of them. And at the end, for these three different frameworks, what we publish templates which are annotated with the data point modeling. Now, of course, this together with the registers that we have at an European level and basic information received within the different submissions also allow us to monitor, closely the exemptions of reporting, the missing reporting, so completeness information, which is very important for EIOPA in terms of the first step of data quality. And then, of course, moving a little bit forward on data quality, also the DPM methodology allow us to have validation rules, and we have evolved a lot on valuation rules. We started with only mandatory and as a rule validation rules. Then we moved to validation rules which are warnings, and now we have a good set of validation rules that allowed us actually to increase data quality along the years in a very important way. Just for you, actually probably first-hand information, EIOPA expects in the next weeks to publish actually our first report on data quality, where of course the importance of validation rules and taxonomy is referred to, and it will show the evolution of data quality since 2015. So pay attention to our website. I hope in the next weeks we'll be able to publish. Moving forward to the next slide, I think it was important today as well to highlight the importance of the work with ECB and on the ECB add-ons. Since the beginning as well, since preparatory phase, that we have engaged with ECB and worked together, because it was already very important then that we needed to reduce the reporting burden of the industry. The discussions on the burden, on the impact assessment of reporting requirements, it was there from the beginning, with strong concerns from the industry, because in fact Solvency II for some members represented a big change in terms of reporting, and with big changes come big investments, of course. So we work together with ECB because we really aim to have a defined once on data point modeling, report once on XBRL regime, to accommodate the needs not only from national competent authorities but EIOPA and also the ECB. And this was a long work. I mean, it was not easy. We had first to understand the ECB needs, because their needs, it's mostly from statistical purposes, but they have different business users. So we had to understand what were their needs, to map their needs with Solvency II reporting, and also to try to identify proxies when this perfect mapping was not possible. We didn't move immediately to ECB add-ons. We actually discussed with ECB different proxies that could be used by their business users without imposing more reporting requirements. This has not always been easy. I mean, it's an ongoing work. Still today, we were discussing with ECB new add-ons to reflect new business needs that will be in the next release. And it's ongoing, but we are very happy to do it, because this at the end means that insurance companies can actually report once to national competent authorities. In some cases, national competent authorities are the same as national central banks. And then, of course, in that case, it's even easier. But if not, it's then up to the national competent authority to report back to national central bank, report to EIOPA, and then national central bank to the ECB using one single submission from the market. And this at the end, of course, also means that both EIOPA and ECB have fully comparable information, and information that we can exchange views, exchange knowledge, because of course it is the same. Now, this is, as I said, a long way. And in the next slide, we wanted to show you that this is actually have been since the beginning a path that we took in parallel with our colleagues from EBA. So since the beginning, and I really need to appreciate our experts that were on both EIOPA and EBA since the beginning understood the importance of being consistent across sectors and the importance of working together. So that actually happened in the beginning in a parallel way. So what does this mean? It means that both EIOPA and EBA collaborated on data standardization. We all both used data point modeling methodology. We were both very successful in integrating our regulatory frameworks using a single data dictionary. I mean, in our case, as I just explained, for different aspects of insurance, for EIOPs, for PEP. And PEP, remember, PEP is actually the first one, which is at the end cross-sectoral, because entities from the three financial sectors can actually offer PEP. Not only insurance companies, not only pensions, but the credit institution will be able to offer PEP, and also investment funds will be able to offer PEP. So that was very important since the beginning as well. We both adopted method-driven strategy and as a way to respond to the changes and to reduce costs. So naturally, considering the more detailed discussions on need for consistency across financial sectors, the discussions on we need a single dictionary across financial sectors, and also the challenges of reporting, because reporting it's also becoming more complex because the need for data is increasing. So considering all these challenges, it became very evident a couple of years ago the advantages of a more strong collaboration and harmonization between us. So since then, experts from both EIOPA and EBA have been working on new common data modeling, envisaging a common development of data definitions, standards, and tools. And of course, we are very happy to present to you the DPRM refit today. What is our long-term goal? Our long-term role is really to play a key role on all this development, and to play a key role in enabling the semantic integration in a single financial dictionary for the whole financial sector. And we hope that we get it, and we hope that today you will get a glimpse of what we have been doing in the last years. And with this, I hand it over to you, Meri. Thank you very much for the slides.
Thank you, Anna Teresa. So I'll continue from this, and I'm also very happy to be here today and speak together with Anna Teresa, since we share the history and the journey EBA and EIOPA has had from the beginning, very similar approach, as Anna Teresa said, to the data point modeling and what we need to improve and how we need to develop reporting processes to make reporting more efficient. So for the EBA, since the beginning, we have integrated all the topics that we have in our reporting framework. Similar journey than EIOPA, we started with FINREP CoreRep, then we've started adding quite a few other modules. More is still coming, like third country branches. With the CRR3, there will be ESG reporting. Our Pillar 3 is not yet in the DPM, but will be for the Pillar 3 Hub and also for the ESAP. And then there are other ESAs reporting as well coming, for example, from DORA. So new reporting is coming, and it will all be integrated into the DPM. So it's the topics have already been sort of, the integration started already from the beginning. So the EBA approach is very much the same as for the EIOPA. So we use the DPM as a unique common data dictionary and include all data elements there. The regulatory text and the requirements have always been accompanied by DPM, but also with a standard technical package, all based on metadata-driven approach, which makes change management easier. So we have standard comparable definitions. They are ready to support the digital processing and system connectivity. And we've always seen the DPM as something that brings the humans, the experts, and the technology together. And we think that this is, we've achieved that link, and DPM is really in the core of all the reporting processes from our perspective as well. The DPM refit, so we are moving towards full digital regulatory lifecycle. DPM refit is a public good, and it also supports full digital processing. So maybe earlier on, at least on the business side, we focus quite a lot that we need the DPM to have precise definitions, to improve harmonization, ensure that we have consistent application of the reporting requirements. But the DPM is also a lot more than that. So it can be used for the preparation of data, but then from the receiving in, so from the authorities, supervisors, and you can be used for collection, validation, transformations, exploration, and finally for analysis and publications as well. So DPM refit is a relational database, can be incorporated directly into any systems. We continue with the common consistent definitions. We applied different levels of granularity. So even if traditionally lots of the supervisor reporting is aggregated, but we also have granular reporting in the DPM. We can implement also, as Teresa mentioned, common data quality processes with validation rules, calculation rules, and then applied with common standard exchange mechanism as well, which the DPM then supports the development. So with the DPM refit and with the DPM in general, so we use it, and we hope that everyone else is also using it throughout the reporting process. So not only for the understanding the definitions, but really building the processes on it. We find lots of benefits in this because we do know that there will always be changes. This is something that we've learned during the bit more than 10 years of operations of the ESAs, EBA and EIOPA. There will always be changes. So every year there are something that needs to be changed, and the changes that need to be implemented. So with the metadata centric approach, we sort of plug in new version of the DPM, and we have updated collection platforms, validation engines, and calculation engines, and as well as the tools that we use for exploration and for disclosures as well. So it's flexible. You need to implement once, and then we have the versions managed as well. So it's not that you replace, but you have version managed. And this also supports the users of the data to manage all the versions, because changes are, especially in the EBA case, quite frequent. So many of the reporting bits, there are new reporting coming almost every year, and there are lots of changes and in details of existing reporting as well. So change and version management is very important. But for us, DPM is really core and key in successfully managing the changes with very scarce resources otherwise. So we think that this is cost efficient and resource efficient way of managing the reporting process. Then we did complete last year a feasibility study on integrated reporting, and there we also investigated and analyzed common data dictionary, and we took the approach of what good looks like, and we also confirmed this in a discussion paper that we issued spring of last year, and had quite a lot of feedback, which confirmed that a good common data dictionary has these kind of characteristics, that it's comprehensive, and incrementally implemented, centrally managed, so that it is consistent, common, unique vocabulary, data comparability, so it's harmonized and common platform for understanding the requirements, ready for digital processing, but equally understandable for humans and can serve the full regulatory data chain. So in parallel, we think that the current DPM that we use at EIOPA and EBA already meets quite a few of these requirements, but in parallel we did a gap analysis and identified what kind of improvements we need to do to be able to meet these kind of requirements and be fit for future reporting in the EU with further integration across sectors. So now we are already quite integrated with between insurance and banking on the methodological side, but then we also have, as Teresa said, semantic integration with the ECB from EIOPA already existing. With the EBA, we are currently discussing, as a follow-up to the feasibility study, we are discussing semantic integration, but also discussing the DPM refit as a common data dictionary. So behind the scenes, while we were doing the feasibility study and while the feasibility study did not provide you the common data dictionary, quite a lot of things has happened by the EBA EIOPA team behind the scenes, already developing a dictionary and DPM that is fit for future, integrating different topics, different granularities, different types of data, is agnostic to technology and can also handle validations and transformations. Then for the future and with the DPM refit, so we have the EU supervisory data strategy. We also have the strategies of the EBA, data strategies of the EBA, EIOPA. We have the feasibility study from the EBA side. So we very much work closely with the ECB on integrating statistical reporting with the banking supervisory data. But some of the key points from the EU supervisory data strategy for all financial sectors includes facilitate digital transformation, to have consistent and standardized, more standardized data, improved design of reporting requirements, and increased data sharing and reuse of data to achieve these define once, report once principles, which then rely on data sharing. And we believe that with the DPM refit in the core, we achieve greater standardization across sectors. We contribute further to allow metadata-driven processes. The preparers can also integrate and embed the data into the internal data management. We can be more efficient and less costly to produce the regulatory reporting and to deliver regulatory reporting. DPM refit is powered by more accessible and efficient technology, facilitates multi-use, reuse, data sharing, which then lead from our side, data-driven policy, but in general, data-driven decisions by everyone who uses the regulatory data. So we believe that the DPM refit, we are ready for the future, and we are very happy to be here today to launch DPM refit and talk about with you and answer any questions that you have. And we want to thank Eurofiling for organizing the event and EBA and EIOPA team of experts for all the work that they've done for over 2 years to develop the DPM refit. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much.